Good evening, and we are live here on a Monday night for a change. That's just life and how busy it gets. That cartoon here, man. That the intro.
Gets me every time.
It's quite funny. We are live on Instagram also, but for the life of me, I can't actually see that. So if you're in tonight from Instagram, please smack us a wee comment and just tell us that you can see us. Can you see us now? Aye.
Can you see me now?
Can you see us now?
I am a
I got a
bogus
wee bit of
cash man.
a wee bit of a change this week. I'm sitting in my living room because of obvious technical issues last week where I kept just freezing and then J Mac would run away and hide and I couldn't do that to him, so I had to reset myself in the living room. So bear with us, folks, until I get a new PC or until my wife allows me to get a new PC. And then once that happens, all will be forgiven and all will be back to its usual grade. However, I think we're looking quite snazzy tonight, you know, I think?
I love the background, man. That's beautiful. It's like
Classic.
it's like Blade Runner. It's actually Blade Runner 2049. I'm thinking.
Yep. It also has a feel of Ready Player One to it as well. I thought it fit well with our... well, the film, I'll give you that. It wasn't terrible, but the book was phenomenal. Todd actually gave me a Blu-ray that is like an old VHS, and you open up the Blu-ray and it's got stickers of like Ghostbusters and no stickers, wee pin badges. Oh, what an edition! I love editions. Speaking of cool, really cool, nostalgic stuff, today we're going to chat about games and their movie adaptations, right? So you and I grew up in a similar time period where the SNES, the NES, and all this was all the rage stuff that people now look at. Like my kids look at it and they're like, nah, not at all. And I've got every console nearly. And I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to relive my childhood here with the kids. Put it all on the like, Dad, I can't see. So it was a bit of an awakening for me. But today we're going to chat a bit about what we experienced, and it kind of goes straight to what we talk about here, movies. Do you want me to kick it off, G-Mac?
Please do. That's it's the way I'm used to things now. So
Right.
let's crack on that way, so it doesn't fuck with my brain feng shui.
So I'm going to actually go right back to the early days here, right? We'll start with the classic. Anytime you talk about any type of retro game, it's even on the thumbnail, everybody goes back to the old N64.
Right, hang on a minute. I'll just delete that off my list.
GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. Now, I never actually grew up with a Nintendo 64. I just played my friends' Nintendo 64 houses. I had a PS1, and what the scariest thing is, in my mind, the PS1 came out a decade after the Nintendo 64, which is not true. They came out at the exact same time.
Yeah, of course they did. Even I knew that.
I know, but the thing is, though, because I never had one, right, and a PS1 at the time.
Did the PS1 not come out in 1994?
Did it?
I think the PS1 was obviously I'm not the gamer, so I might be wrong, but I'm sure the PS1 I think came out in 94, and the Nintendo 64 came out in 95 or 96. In fact, it might be 97.
And by the way,
I'm going to go 96.
You say that they're like, well, I'm not a gamer like I am. I mean, as far as gamers go, I'm not a gamer, but I am what you would call a retro.
Retro gamer. You do play new games as well, though.
Some, very little though.
Aye,
very little.
I play like one. I play, that's a lie. I play two games, and one of them I've completed like 9 times. I just like
What's
to.
that?
Inside. It's on the Xbox Games Pass. It's
listen to you. On the Xbox Game Pass, and there's you.
No gamer. I'm not a gamer, but I will switch it on for an hour or so after coming in for a back shift. And I'll play Inside, and I'll play Drift Legends.
Drift Legends.
Yeah, racing game. Yeah. I did used to play Rory McIlroy, but then they took it off the Game Pass, and now you can't even get, because I use my Game Pass through my PC.
Mm-hmm.
I can only get certain games, right? And they don't have a golf game at all. I can't even buy one through the Xbox Games Pass, which is horrendous. They need to sort that shit out, by the way.
Great ridiculous, eh? But none of the games I actually grew up on were tennis related, because I don't think we had a mate other than Wimbledon. What other tennis films exist?
Tennis?
Aye,
Why are we talking about tennis?
because I'm burst and thought you meant tennis when you actually meant golf. Wow.
When I said golf.
But that got me thinking. Do you know what? In my mind, that thinking the other day, I bought, is it Virtua Tennis? Because tennis games, whether I like tennis or not, were class on the PS2, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it made me think, what great tennis films were there? Bar Wimbledon, and I'm sure that stars, what's his puss? Who's in
Paul
Vengeance?
Bettany, I think.
Yeah.
There was also another one I think called Match Point, which I don't think I've ever seen. And there was also King Richard, which came out a couple of years ago about the Serena sisters. The Williams sisters. Seems like I might be favouring one of them.
The thing is, it could be something in Hollywood that's missing right now. It's a good tennis film. Apologies. Golf games. Again, like I played, I dabbled, but everything that I played were your classics. And by the way, I pulled this out as well. Right, its sequel was Tomorrow Never Dies. There was something quite great about the old James Bond film games. They almost had a feel of Medal of Honor. I don't know if you ever played that. Like they were Medal of Honor before Medal of Honor. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, the wee note that I had down on my wee pad here for 007 GoldenEye was best first-person shooter ever. Now, there might be a lot of arguments against that now because I just don't play them anymore. I do not have the hand-eye coordination to play those games without just getting really pissed off because I can't get anywhere. I did play... it was a World War I game. That again, it's on the Xbox Games Pass. I think it might still be Battlefront. Battlefield.
That was great.
Battlefront.
It was Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield.
Battlefront. Star Wars.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what I played of it up until the point, which was very early on in the game, where I just couldn't get past it, and then I've never played it since.
You gave up, yeah, big chook. Matthew Min in the house. He says, I started my gaming journey on the Spectrum ZX. I still remember the headaches.
What company made the Spectrum? Was Spectrum the brand, or was that the model? Was it
Atari?
I'm not sure.
Let me just check that.
Sinclair made one as well. I think it might have been the VIC-20.
It was Sinclair. It was actually Sinclair. It's basically a keyboard with a cassette machine in it. That's
I still can't fathom how you played games off a fucking tape. You know, I mean, that was what I grew up with, but
what we didn't play on a tape was this, and it's essentially a cartridge. As you can see here, E.T. Now, this is E.T., the Game Boy Advance game. This came out maybe 15 years after the dreadful E.T. Voted the very worst game in the history of games is E.T. for the Atari. Have you heard the story?
Wait, I played that. I played that when I was in hospital after getting my foreskin separated from my belly end. I'm not even kidding.
So that's another show.
But they had I was obviously in the children's hospital because this was when I was, I think, maybe 6, and they had a games room and they had an old Atari. Is that 2600? I think it's called. And that was the only game they had for it. But because it was the only game, you made it good. You know, you can make a game good if it's the only one you've got. Like people played Pong for years, thinking it was the best thing on earth.
Yeah, I had that on an old phone, and it was fun. This ET game's a wee bit different. You can actually see ET and kind of run about with him. But do you know, they actually, Atari got all the ET cartridges and put them in a landfill because they couldn't sell it. It was dreadful.
I actually watched the documentary they made about it.
Yeah.
Which was actually really, really interesting. I mean, who would have thought that would make an interesting documentary about a game that was so bad they literally buried it in the desert? But
by the way, the documentary
really interesting.
It was great because they weren't sure for like as a fact that it was actually and like that was the documentary. They're like, this is a rumor. Is it actually a thing? And they went and dug it up. Like, they actually did bury these things.
I know. It's like every time you watch a UFO documentary where it goes, "Is this the proof of alien life?" Then it gets to the end and goes, "No."
Aye.
That was different because they actually did dig it up.
No, I know. I've got another game here, by the way, that's in mint condition.
Wait, are you finished? Are you finished with GoldenEye?
Well, I went on AT, mate.
Oh, right, I thought you were going to talk about
it. Well, it was all right. It was all right. I mean,
it was alright.
It was alright. It was fun, but I didn't spend my childhood on it. The scenes in that were.
I was in the same situation as you, where I never owned an N64. My best friend when I was growing up was a guy called Davis, who now lives in New Zealand. If you happen to be watching this, all right, man. His parents had pre-ordered it. He was one of the rich kids, so his parents had pre-ordered it for him for Christmas of 1997. I'm sure it was 1997, and I spent a lot of time up there playing that after that Christmas. And what was funny is within 3 months, the price had went from £250 down to 50 on the N64 because it sold so badly. I think that's why it went down so much. But it really wasn't a very well received console in general. I thought it was amazing.
It was a good console, but the controller was a bit weird.
It was weird, but because I never had my own console, so I got used to that one. That was the controller I was used to. So the first time I held like a PlayStation one, I'm like, what the fuck? This is crap. That's not true. I would have played the PlayStation before that, but again, never had my own. I didn't own a PlayStation until I was 18, and I bought one with a bonus that I got in my work, and it was a PS2. That was the first time I'd ever owned a PlayStation. But N64 was an underrated console, and like everything else, it comes back. Like these games start getting accolades way after they should have. So, but I think GoldenEye was always top of the list.
Yeah, I think most people like Wipeout. Most people had these kind of games.
Wipeout was fantastic. That was my cousin. My cousin had the PlayStation 1, and Wipeout was that was a mainstay of the wee weekends that I would spend over in Rutherglen. Sorry, Burnside.
This here, by the way, this is the second one. The second.
That was the shut up, young Jamie look that Joe Rogan gives.
No, my phone started ringing, and I was like, "What the hell?" The Lost World. Did you ever play the original Jurassic Park games? Look how like in perfect nick this is.
Have you just bought that?
No, I've no.
Have you never played it?
No. Oh no, I did. I have. It's been open. It's been played.
But it's still in the plastic.
No, it's resealable. Look.
You've kept the resealable package.
Yes.
That is, mate. I have to hand it to you on that one.
Amazing, right?
That's phenomenal. Well done.
This I always thought was amazing because you actually run about as the dinosaur eating things.
Did it go like this?
Yes. Yes.
I remember that. I remember that. You could play. You're like a raptor for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you run about other things, right?
That was probably a situation where the game was better than the film.
The thing is, like that, as a kid, usually playing these type of games, you were always the protagonist trying not to get munched. But in this, you're the wee dinosaur trying to munch.
Could you choose? I'm sure you could choose whether to go a human or a dinosaur, and everybody went a dinosaur because it was the most fun.
I think you can actually get to a point where you have to change. Yeah.
Right.
And I think
I've been in that situation a few times, but for different reasons.
So that was a great one.
Shot my shell again.
We don't actually have, like, when anybody talks about movie adaptations of games, they never say, "Oh, do you remember that Jurassic Park game?" Never. It's never a thing. No one looks at Jurassic Park and goes, "That was a class film that got turned into a game." You know?
Yeah, I mean,
but no. no game ever really was like, whoa, that's the boss, you know?
What really pisses me off is when you play a game that's based on a film, and I think this tends to be a kind of thing that's happened more recently. But like one of the games that's on my list here is Aladdin for the Mega Drive, which,
Yeah.
in my opinion, is one of the best games in history. I think it's a fantastic wee game. The graphics for the time were great. It looked just like the film, except for the desert level. The desert level was fucking crap, but the rest of it, like these silly wee green snakes coming out of you, and it was that level was a bit. That was a bit funny, but the rest of the game, I think, looked a lot like the film did. But something I've noticed recently, I downloaded Conan: Age of Exile.
That, by the way.
Are you Conan in it?
No.
No. Why? Why?
Because
he's on the poster for the game. There's Conan. I'm going to. Oh man, I love Conan. I'm going to play Conan. And then you start as some fucking ambiguously gendered fucking punk. And
yeah. Do you know that
it's not Conan?
Exile, do you know what that is? That's a grinding game. You know that?
Excuse me?
It's a game that you need to really grind it. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought it was a reference to Grinder.
No, your other pastime. No, right. So Age of Exile is actually a game where you start off and you level your guy up, you go into a town, you build. It's like, it's not a game that you would enjoy. It's one you need to spend hours like going to find resources to then take.
Like Warcraft.
Bit different for Warcraft. I'm trying to think what type of game you'll have played that's like it. Because if you've no gamed in the last 25 years properly, you'll no have any understanding of it. But your guy, you basically level him up and you go to other towns, you take over their stuff and you just start living there. You've got to actually live. You've got to eat.
So it's like one of these kind of Second Life things where
Yes,
you have to get properly immersed in the game.
That shows, man. The fact that you said Second Life, man. Fuck me, that didn't even take off properly.
I'm sorry. Give a second, man. I just need to go and grab a fisherman's friend and get a cough, sweetie.
Pretty much, man. It's a proper game that you need to grind. I could have told you, and it's about 400 gigabyte as well.
Oh, it was massive. It took me forever to download it.
Open world. World. You can play the game as you want. See, more so what you said about Aladdin. That actually reminds me of Episode 1, Star Wars Episode 1. The terrain and all that. It looks just like, Darth Maul's ready to come out with a double-sided lightsaber.
I remember playing that on my mate's PlayStation. I think it was a PlayStation 1. And the pod racing was amazing. It looked like Tatooine. Not even a Star Wars fan. I remember that game more than I remember the films.
I'm quite a Star Wars fan. Here's the same game for two different consoles. Are they different on each console? Absolutely. I recall. So this here, Star Wars Episode 3, is fun. As far as a Game Boy can be fun. You're not really going to get heavy invested in story on a Game Boy, right? It's there's your dude, there's a thing, kill it, move on to the next thing. A wee bit of text, move on to the next thing. That's every Game Boy game ever, apart from the Pokemon games, right? This, however, when this released back when this was 2003, back when Episode 3 came out, right? This was a game I wanted to get my hands on for such a long time before I actually did, right? And it took me a wee while to do so because everybody bought it and then everybody shat on it. Do you know why they shat on it?
Why?
Because it was far too easy to complete.
Oh, that's right up my street, man. Gives a shot.
Right? I was like, how is that a problem? A game I'll actually finish. I thought it was brilliant.
A game that you won't kill your family over stress for.
Yes. Right? Don't get me wrong, there's some challenging parts, but it was really like when I finally got around to doing it, like I had a friend who lived in Longridge and he had a shed in the back of his garden, right? And I knew his younger brother and his big brother, and they're all family. I'll go around, and I went into the shed, and they had what's called the Wall of Shame, and he takes the disc, and any PlayStation game that was crap, he would nail to the wall of shame, and it would stay on there. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't have that game. I would attain that and played it.
And you've just destroyed it.
And you've destroyed it and put it on your wall. He was like, that's how bad it is. So they tried to deter me, but no.
Would they nail it through the disc, not through the hole in the middle?
No, I put it through the disc.
Oh, that's wasteful.
It is wasteful, especially when there's somebody like me. I was like, oh, I want to play it. You know, I was at the age where, I mean, what I had gone. This came out maybe a year after or several months after it came out, and I remember going to see this with Dylan and Warren Capaldi. The minute it came out, we were there the next again day, went and seen it, and was like, that was amazing. That was it. And right now, the film still gets shat on. But
that was the only one of those three that I liked.
And it's a number 3. You hate a number 3 in any film, right?
No. I was going to say generally you're right, but no. Die Hard with a Vengeance is way better than Die Hard 2.
Terminator 3, so not better than 2.
Oh, so you got one example. Oh no, 2, because I've told you before I wasn't a big fan of Rocky 3. Or I became less of a fan of Rocky 3 over the years.
I really enjoyed it. To me, that was Rocky. Matthewman says, remember how hard games used to be? I remember putting my foot through the door because I couldn't beat the big Indian chief guy on Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct? I've never even heard of that.
It was a SNES game.
Right.
A black cartridge.
I remember getting Gamer Rage at the Atari 2600, trying to get to that vine that was just a wee bit further away on Jungle Hunt.
Aye.
Craig might know what I'm talking about.
I don't think there's any game that I've played and like you'll probably not complete as much games as you'll actually complete when it comes to playing games. You get to a certain point, you're either I'm done with this because it's repetitive, or it's too hard. You just can't beat it, right? Well,
sorry, it's a big difference between the games that from our youth and the games now, because you can complete a game now in so many different ways. You know what I mean? So you've got the story, you complete the story, and then you complete the challenges, then you complete everything, like the trophies, then you complete everything else, to the point where it's actually ridiculous. My mate Lee, he's a stickler for that. Like he gets pissed off if he doesn't get 100% completion on every game that he gets.
I could do that to myself. Can you imagine how like I have no time to play any of these games? Imagine like if I dedicated myself like that to gaming. You just would never see me. I'd probably still
he's a relatively newly single guy, man. He's got all the time in the world to do what the fuck he wants.
Lucky guy, but luck is in the eye of the beholder. See this, by the way, I actually got it and then I completed it and I went, I had a great time. I look fondly on this and I had a great time. And not only that, you can actually this exactly follows the film, right? Scene by scene, it follows the film and it allows you to play through the scenes. See if you fuck it up. It doesn't go the way of the film. It goes, what would have happened if they fucked it up?
All right, so it's got an alternate storyline you can go down if you mess up. That's cool.
So it was always fun. So, and I like games like that, which brings me to one of the other ones.
Actually, sorry, before you move on to your next game, just in case it's the same one that I've just come up with, when you're talking about that, Lego Star Wars for the PS2.
I've got that.
What a phenomenal wee game that is. Do you know what I love about it?
What
I love about it is it does get difficult. It gets difficult at times, but see if you die, you just come right back. There's no frustration. There's no frustration about, oh, I need to start again. I need to start the level again.
Lego bricks destroy and then they just go.
It's the best thing on earth, man. Every game should be a Lego game.
I don't know about that.
Conan, Lego Exiles. You know I'd play that.
That you can actually get like every character and every rendition of them. Before we get one of my ultimate favorites, because there's a console that I absolutely loved, but I'll preface this here with there's T2 on the Game Boy, the original Game Boy. So it's the original release for T2, which was all right, by the way.
You sure that should be in the open air? You might degrade it.
But the thing is, with the T2, is that you're basically you're a crosshair and you're just shooting Skynet robots. Yeah. So it's not like you're Arnie. You're just shooting things. And then came Cartoon Booster. Right.
Oh, man.
T3 the game. If you
I don't
thought
know if I'm in the mood for
film was
this.
bad- if you thought the film was bad, the game was visually it looked quite class, by the way, but it was very much like Doom. You're kicking about and everything's quite fast paced coming at you. So it's not very heavy story driven.
Again, back in the day, I liked games like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D.
Duke Nukem, it's got a feel to that a wee bit. Do you know that Arnie actually voices this as well? That it was that, or it was Stu Arnold?
Oh no! If it was Stu Arnold, it would have been shite.
Suppose it did sound like Arnie. So.
You're no very good, by the way. Just so you know.
It was actually.
Everybody knows I'm the best Terminator. No, you're not, because nobody else says Terminator. Just saying.
It's what do you call it? The burial of Mr. Arnold.
I bet he's. By the way, I bet his last name isn't even Arnold.
I
guarantee it's no.
If anybody out there knows, please let us know.
He looks like a Pickering.
Ronnie Pickering. There is Mummy Returns, which was a great game for the Game Boy. I felt it had a lot of depth. Do you remember the Mummy Returns? It's when the Rock made it.
I remember the film. I remember that cartoon that showed up at the end. Aye. That was unfortunate.
That was a great, like. Do you think Mummy's better than Mummy Returns?
100%.
Mummy Returns was class though.
The Scorpion King was better than the Mummy Returns.
The Scorpion King was actually class.
It was funny, and it was well made. It's no brilliant, but it's certainly better than the Mummy Returns was.
Class. I have another one here, and I really love the original Xbox. By the way, that's why you'll know a lot of my. You and I have actually played this very disc together in my home. Yes, this was amazing.
Have we played that?
I smashed you a couple of years ago in my house playing this. It was before
you smashed me while playing it, or you smashed me in the game.
You wouldn't know. No, we played it in my.
I hate this game. Gives me a sore bum.
We played it when I was before I'd even set my wee cupboard up into a proper podcast room. We were literally.
I do think I remember that. I think I do remember that.
Right before we went to one of the Comic Cons, because you were.
I remember.
Whiskey, and this was before shit got messy.
I do remember.
And I kept smashing you at it, and you're like, "I don't want to play anymore."
If it was my game, I'd have taken it out and went home.
Mick says, "Evening, chaps. How's it going, Mick? I love your mask."
All right, Mick, a dick.
Background, guys. Thank you. It took me all of 20 minutes to do. Donna Fairbairn. It says, "My favorite was Crash Team Racing for the original Xbox." Well, it wasn't for the original Xbox, Donna. It was for the PS1, and then I don't even think they made it for the. You could play it on the. Right now, you can play it on PS3. You can play it on PS Vita.
I think Crash Bandicoot's a PlayStation.
Aye, Crash Team Racing. No, but Crash is on the Xbox. But let me just confirm this, right? Crash Team Racing, Xbox, right? Because it was only ever on the PS1, not even the PS2. No, it wasn't. It was never on the original Xbox. Oh, wait a minute. Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Wait a minute. Crash Tag Team was, but not the Crash Team Racing that you and I used to play, Donna, when I would smash shit out you. Like in the game, I mean. Mick says, I had Rocky on the PS2. Same game. There was a cheat code that you could fight as a Rocky statue.
Dude, there's another bastard one I can take off my list then. Hang on. Because my little note that I've got for Rocky on the PS2 was shite but fun. And the reason for that is because the gameplay was actually shocking. Mm-hmm. The graphics were middling to all right. But what was cool was just to be able to fight your way up through the characters. And it's not just Apollo Creed and Clubber Lang, and you fight Spider Rico and all these other names that are mentioned, Buddy Shaw, stuff like that. And that's what I love about that film. It takes you through Rocky's journey with you being able to be Rocky. and start right at the bottom and work your way up.
Starts you off in the early days as well.
Oh, you're fighting in like a shithole boxing gym at the beginning.
Aye, exactly. Donna says I had it on Xbox too. I'm sure that and Fable. No, you definitely had Fable, and you maybe had Crash Tag Team Racing. Yeah, Crash Team Racing was only ever on the PS1, and now it's been like remastered, and it's now on the bigger consoles. But it was only ever PS1. The Crash Team.
I'll tell you one thing about Rocky as well was the constant loop.
Yeah.
All the way through the game.
Aye.
I wish when you worked your way up, the music changed with the movies, but it didn't. It didn't. Could you imagine if you got to Rocky 4 and it was going? That's the same tune. I fucked it up. Or even you have a wee training montage in between where you had to like bash wiggle the shit. Sorry, just wiggle the shit out of the wee. What do you call the thumbstick? Is that what you call that?
Thumbstick.
Just wiggle the fuck out of that to try and pull a bit of wood or something. If they had something like that in amongst it, it would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been pretty epic. You're very well.
Or wiggle the thumbstick to cry harder and harder at Mickey dying. Just like start wiggling.
Every time you hit it. And if you fail, if you go like a normal person,
and if you go really, really hard, it goes.
That'd have been pretty cool. I would have liked that. Donna says, "Yep, that's the one." Crash Tag Team. Yeah, I didn't really play that one. I played the Team Racing one. We used to play it as kids, and but I think that's pretty much the same type of stuff. But that's not a film. These are going further off into the weeds than J Mac usually does. Mick says, Mick, you mean the analog stick? That's what we used to call it before it became the thumbstick. It was the old analog. It was only analog, I think, because in PS2, in fact, even the original PS1, you could take off using those analog sticks because we used to just have the directional buttons, and then came the option to use the analogs, which people were like, this is weird, I'll never take it off. Now everybody uses it. That was those were the days. But aye, so that was fun. I always recall playing that growing up. Loved it, and I absolutely smashed you at it. So if you can challenge me to a rematch, here's some other fun games. There's something about the Pixar games, whether it be Toy Story, Monsters Inc., or any of the other Pixar films. Finding Nemo.
It's pure power.
Anytime you build one of these games, right, just playing in that type of environment really is quite cool. You ever play those games and you're just like playing the old Rugrats games, just kind of felt, oh, this is like...
Dude, Rugrats! I played that on the PS2. I still love that.
I've got it upstairs. I didn't
still
bring it out because it's not a film.
That and The Simpsons Hit and Run.
I've got it still. Got it on like 3 different consoles.
I've been trying to... Not going to be out of the bush. Illegally get hold of that to play it on my PC.
I'll send you a link.
I'm just not very good at it yet. But
I've still got it.
Oh, dude, The Simpsons Hit and Run. I was addicted to that back in the day. That was again so frustrating as well. If you never hit your checkpoint in time, like you'd miss it by half a second and stuff. And
but then it would just come up saying like you've fucked it, and then you press X and it takes you back to a checkpoint straight away like that. And what I loved as well is you'd just be kicking about the town, and now you'd be like Ralph Wiggum, and he's just sitting licking a fence or something like that. I thought that was excellent.
Licking a fence.
I
like men now.
Ralph's probably my favorite Simpsons character, man.
That's because it reminds you of you. No, you're Nelson.
Nah,
just like
I suppose actually. Do you remember that one where he laughs at the guy, which is so funny because I actually done it in real life and pissed myself because it made me think of that. Do you remember the scene where the guy's driving in his car and his knees are up to his face and he goes, And then the guy gets out of the car and he's like, "Did you find something funny about me driving my automobile?" Do you remember that one?
The really tall guy in the wee tiny car.
Yeah.
Aye.
And he's like, "This was the only one I could afford." Right. And then he makes him walk down the street. He's like, "Ha ha, point and laugh." Well, anyway, I remember being on the precinct, right? And I seen Scott McInnes, big fucking lurch. I seen him driving the smallest wee Ford car, whatever it was, and his legs were near touching his chin. And I remember going, and I was like, "That's
told you. I
The
told
Simpsons
you were
predicted it.
Nelson.
The
You are
Simpsons
Nelson.
predicted that. The Simpsons predicted me laughing at him. I said, with Tomb Raider,
Disqualified.
well, as their games and movies, the Avengers game was shite. Mad Steve Rogers jump off walls. Actually,
No, these are all disqualified.
no, I do have. Well, I
No,
was
no.
going to bring Tomb Raider through and Mortal Kombat, but I thought, do you know what? I've got the Mortal Kombat games I've got are not just Mortal Kombat. They're not based on the game, so it doesn't work.
No, but they were games first, and then they became movies. So they're disqualified. They're out of the game.
Them. And I didn't bring I can show my full collection, and I want to, but they're no films, so I'm not going to. But I do have some sitting running and all that fun shit.
Can I get one?
Go for it.
Dennis on the Amiga 1200.
Right, and for the NES.
Yeah, I don't know if they were the same on both. They probably were. I don't think they would have spent too much money redeveloping it for different consoles.
Do you know what? Even try to find the DVD. Oh, there's your pal again, Paul Peters. Oh my God, Jay, why do you always have a look on your face like you want a dildo measuring cup? Wait, what is this? Wait, Paul Peters, go and tell us what Jay Mack ever done to you, mate. Like, what's the beef? This has to be someone that knows you in real life, and
it's news to me. It's news to me.
He knows who you are. It's someone that knows you.
I mean, I've not won a dildo competition since 2006. So fuck off. That was. And how would you know? How would you know what face you make when you win a dildo measuring competition?
I'm saying you two know each other. That's what I'm saying.
Because he goes to them. He dresses up as a wee dildo, like a wee dildo cosplayer.
Sorry.
Check out my helmet.
Mate, we should invite him on. Just to have it out with him. Like, oh, what's your fucking beef, man? The Godfather game was good, and so was Lord of the Rings. Well, mate, I was going to bring the Godfather game through because I've got it on Steelcase Special Edition, but I thought it was all right. It was basically Vice City because Vice City. No. I'm thinking of Scarface. Sorry, I'm wrong. But by the way, Lord of the Rings, I brought these two through. I have all of them, but these two are the most crucial for me. Look at that, an original game sticker. Look, 4 for 20 quid. You can get that now. And I like to keep the old stickers on them because it reminds me of my childhood. But this was easier. Two Towers. Oh, did I bring through Return of the King when I should have brought the Two Towers through? This and the Two Towers were probably the better one. The Return of the King was all right. Did you ever play the Lord of the Rings one? This one you're more so running about like you're Frodo. You're technically it's like playing Fable, but then this one you started to like proper just mash everything that was near you. Mick knows.
I've got a vague recollection of playing a Lord of the Rings game at some point, but I can't remember what it was for. Probably the PS2. Because it would have been about 2004. That was my third year in the dildo measuring contest. I bought it the same year. So I'm sure I remember playing it on the PS2 at some point.
Probably. Well, it's a class game. Another great game that came out on the PS2 and original Xbox. Enter the Matrix. Anybody played that game, and this is basically the game. It's actually got who in it. G.I. Jane.
Is that her? I was going to say it's Halle Berry. Harry Baldy.
Halle Baldy. That's Thingy's knife. Another wee comment for Peters.
Mate, I have no idea who this guy is, but I'm assuming it's a guy.
It's someone you know. How funny it would be if it was your wife.
Nah. She would just do that to my face.
That'd be quite fun. In fact, that would be quite something, wouldn't it? Did you ever play Enter the Matrix?
Again, I've vague recollection at some point. I don't know who would have had it. It wouldn't have been me, but I think I do remember. Like you had control over the bullet time and stuff, where you could switch the camera around, and
yep.
I think I might be wrong.
It definitely was a game that was like no other, because this game it's like the mechanics of it were built purely for this, you know.
So speaking of Dennis for the Amiga, it looked. I mean, I had a lot of fun playing that, but I think I only had a demo of it when I had my Amiga. I'm sure it was on a demo disc, a floppy disk. I'm talking about. No jokes about floppies, Paul. But it actually looked really similar to the Home Alone games.
Yep,
it was very, very similar to them.
Phenomenal in it.
What's that?
Mr. Wilson. Like,
what about?
He looked exactly like Walter Matthau.
I did.
Did you think so?
The human version of Droopy the dog.
Aye, big Walter Matthau.
Going down, sir.
You see it? Walter Matthau. Look at that.
That's
Walter Matthau.
Such a tough game, by the way. Really hard wee platformer.
By the way, I looked to buy this film the other day, right? And it is so expensive to buy because it's no readily available anywhere.
Really?
Aye, on DVD. I'd love it on a Blu-ray, but no. It's just, I don't know if if it's heavy out in America and just no here, you know?
Have you searched for Dennis the Menace?
Yep, because that's what I have to. I'm like, it was never Dennis the Menace, it was Dennis. I remember going down to the at the time would have been Safeway down on Whitburn Main Street, which is now Co-op, right?
And it used to be Presto.
Presto, I remember Presto. But I remember going in there, and there it was on VHS. I got that and Attack of the Clones, and that's how late in the game it was still there. But now it's like a forgotten film. Nobody knows about it. I got to watch it with my kids in the cinema recently. So their first experience of watching that film was in the cinema, and it was great. Harry's like this. My son Harry, who loves John Hughes films, he's like this. He's like, there's Buzz Home Alone. And I'm like, so it is.
I mean, he's got like an Essex boy hairstyle in it. It really puts you off.
Hi, and the lassie from American Pie, Orange Is New Black. I can't remember her name. She's also that's who plays the boyfriend.
She also played Reagan at the start of Scary Movie 2.
That's right. She did.
Yeah. He's like, all right then.
Was that not James Woods?
That was James Woods. She's like, he's gone.
Is he dead now? Is he dead?
No. I think it might as well be because Hollywood blacklisted him for basically being a Republican.
But they can be whatever they want, right? We'll not get into
Aye. Yeah, you can do and say whatever you want as long as it's in line with what we think.
And do. Donna says, Harry Potter games. Sorry, I joined late, so not entirely sure what you're looking for. We're talking about great film movie adaptations. And by the way, what Harry Potter games are in there?
But again,
the first one.
And if I was going to say that doesn't qualify. I'm talking absolute pish because it clearly qualifies.
Of course it does. It's a film.
I know. I went reverse.
So that actually for PS1, I had the first one, the Harry Potter and the
with the infamous Hagrid.
Aye, that's the one I had.
Could you bring up one of them? It's actually a bit it's still a current meme kicking about how bad Hagrid looked in Harry Potter on the PS1.
It's a Philosopher's Stone. So I remember playing that, and I always remember, you know that way where you're playing a game and you've got food poison, so anytime you think of the game, it makes you go, oh, I remember how bad that felt. There's Hagrid. You are a wizard, Harry. I'm not. You are a wizard. I'm not. You're a wizard, Harry.
Do you know what's funny when you watch? Like, I'm a big fan of the first two Harry Potter films. After that, they kind of lose me. I like the ones that were really made for kids. I'm not telling you why, but that's the ones I like. I like the ones that feel like kids' films. And
That way you can lure the kids in.
that absolutely, that's
This
disgusting.
way, kids.
But that first one, the first one, the acting for the kids in the first one. Oh my god, man! You're a wizard, Harry. A wizard? It's like, aye, stop stuttering, you prick. So I don't know if he was supposed to do it or if he just fluffed his lines. But the acting in it was terrible. The only person that was actually semi-decent in it was Rupert Grint. Rupert Grint has always been better than the other two main characters at acting. But even he was still pretty hammy in it.
Well, by the way, see the game. The game for me was the first time where like I got a real sense of exploration. It's like it was the first time a game felt like open world to me. You could literally just kick about the school and watch out in case you get done in and all that. It was great. You can go up and eat chocolate frogs. To me, like that's totally immersive. And I remember one time coming home from school, and there's a girl called Fiona in my class, and she was like, "Here, you can take home my home economics treats here that I've made. They're truffles." I was like, "Oh, smashing, man, thanks." Ate a few on the way up, and I got home. And back in those days, that's what I would do. I'd come in, get my homework done, burst that PS1 on before dinner time, have a wee shot. And I remember going like, I don't feel so good. And I remember like, and I was burst, but I was like, this game's too good to put down. So I kept playing it while I was burst. And now, anytime I think of that game, I'm always like, mind, I was so burst, Fiona. And I mind going back to school and like, Fiona, I will fucking batter you if you do that to me again, man. You need it. Reason. She's just like, I'm not getting a fuck after school. I'll fucking do you in.
What were you saying about being nothing like Nelson Muntz?
I'm just kidding. She knew I was joking, but she defo gave me a Syrian. Matthewman says Alien Isolation was phenomenal. Come on, man. That was it's not exactly retro, but I've heard only great things about it. I have it for nearly every console. Never played it yet. I think that the alien actually learns about, so you've got to kick about and basically avoid this alien doing you in, but the alien learns your gameplay and starts to figure you out. So you've got to keep changing to the point where your controller, like if you move the controller, you move and it'll fucking sense you and all that stuff. It does sound amazing. Only hear good things about it. Donna says, "Gold old Tetris." I think she means good old Tetris. Wasn't that a film too? No, it wasn't, Donna. You're disqualified. Donna says Rugrats. Yep, we kind of touched upon that, but that was a TV series, a class TV series. By the way, do you know what I found out today? We FYI for everybody watching here at home. By the way, see the kid from Home Alone 3? He was the voice of Hey Arnold.
Oh, was he?
That's right. Now we like him, right? It's like,
no.
He was the voice of Hey Arnold. Oh, was he? Aye, sound guy.
I went for years thinking it was the same kid for Liar Liar.
No, it wasn't even him. Mick says, I've only seen the first Harry Potter film. Star Wars has had some good games. Yeah, the third one was great. I think that Fallen Order was phenomenal. I completed that. It's the first game I completed in a long time. That was a couple of years back. I've yet to get the new one because there's no point. My wife's like, get this game. I'm like, there's no point. We both know I'm not going to play it because I don't have the time in it. So I just haven't. I would like to at some point when I get.
That's her telling you she wants to play it and she has to justify it.
No. She didn't want to play Star Wars. Not at all. Donna says Final Fantasy. Was that a film first?
No.
Probably was, right?
No, it was a film after. And even that, it was a fully CGI film, so it doesn't even really count.
I have seen that. Here's another one, which, again, totally immersive. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which this is just a remake of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? It's just a remake.
looks like fucking Toe Jam and Earl.
Okay.
Anybody remember that one? Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah, I do. I've got
it. Whoa, a buck.
By the way, I'm coming to the end of my physical media here. And that
thank fuck, because I've still to give you all of my stuff.
And I've got more than what you see here. I just brought these down because these were the best ones. There's the Spider-Man 2 for the Game Boy, and we have Spider-Man, which was out of this world. The one for the PS1 was even better. Got that as well. And Spider-Man 2, this one actually, they changed so much. This original Spider-Man, which this was kind of like a do-up of the original one. They basically made it more film. This was basically Toby had become Spider-Man, and we got this, which wasn't too far different from the original. That wasn't Toby, but then this was the last time as Spider-Man you would just shoot your web up into the sky and imagine it's like attached to God's balls as you're swinging about on nothing, right? This time, when this one came out, Spider-Man 2, this was the first time ever that a Spider-Man game you would shoot the web and it had to touch something, and then your mechanic would swing based on where it's at. Yeah.
Funnily enough, I was talking to a guy on my team at work. His name's Bruce. He's in his early to mid 50s, and his daughter got a PS5 recently, or he got it for her, and he was really looking forward to having a shot of Spider-Man on the PS5, and he said he had to give up because he couldn't get his web to stick to anything.
Aye, that's
like but he's getting all frustrated and like, why the fuck's it not working? And then his daughter's like, here, I'll show you, and she'll show him, and she does it, and he's like, right, okay, takes it back. He does it the exact same way she does it. Fuzz. So, aye,
that's just it.
Typical old man like me, yeah, can't handle it.
We were preconditioned from Spider-Man 2 onwards that if you don't actually shoot your web at something, this time it's not just going to go into the sky and you're just going to be able to do it. And the thing is, like, when you shoot the web and you're swinging, right, you would have to then hit the jump button and then latch onto something else, and then you would go whatever way that goes. Now, if you don't jump, you'll just swing back down and eventually you'll just hang from whatever you're back on. You know what I mean? Like, they got it so right. The one thing I didn't like about Spider-Man 2 was the fact that all the cars seemed to have mirrored windows, and it got to that point where it's like, yeah, it was quite free roam. You could kick about New York, but it's like you'd be going through. I loved that you could. I mean, you got the main story, which was cool, but you also had like the side missions, which for me were always where it was at. But the issue was this: help! This guy's took my bag. All right, come down, batter the guy, give the lassie the bag, zip to the next street. Help! This guy's took my bag. It's like, did I not just save you like 3 blocks away a second ago? These are the same guys, and you're the same women. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've just got your bag back, and now you're saying it the same way, and the same voice. You look the same, and these bad guys I just done in like 5 minutes ago. What the fuck? So it just got repetitive. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where they're going to go. I'm going to cut them off. It became too repetitive and too easy. But the Spider-Man games have only gotten better. They're just too. I didn't like that they've gone all the Tom Holland and that. You give me a Spider-Man game with Tobey Maguire all over that shit. Mick says, I want a Red Dead movie. That would be phenomenal. Great.
That's a good idea, by the way. I mean, I've had very, very limited experience with Red Dead. By that I mean fuck all. Never played it.
GTA, but with horses.
What's that?
It's GTA, but with horses.
Aye, I've seen so many clips for it, and it looks amazing. It does look like the type of thing I would enjoy. I do like a good western, and getting immersed in one seems right up my fucking street.
Would lose you for a good couple of months. Like, do you know the new Red Dead one, which is a prequel to the first one? The new one, when it first came out, I had a good shot at it. I never ever completed it, but I had a good shot of it. And then when I was like, I'm just like kicking about on a horse, and you can just get a lasso, right round somebody, rip them off their horse, drag them for a mile, and then tie them to a train and watch as the train comes and cuts them in half. I was like, this is where it's at for me.
It's a bit gratuitous, is it no?
But hey, that's the way they was back in the West.
Fucking wasn't it?
They say it is. Donna says Street Fighter. That was a game before it was a film. Donna, come on.
And also, I wouldn't even count that as a fucking film. I remember watching I watched Street Fighter back in the mid-90s when it came out, and I was watching it with my dad. And I was quite young at the time, so I enjoyed it at the time for what it was. Because when you're a kid, you're stupid and you can enjoy any old shite, right?
Of course you can. Loved it.
But it got towards the end, and they're sitting watching Bison's fortress blowing up. And then all the main characters start to gather together on top of a hill. They all start gathering together on top of a hill. My dad goes, "Oh, here comes the fucking Kodak moment." And then, sure enough, it'd go, "Yeah!" And it freeze frames. And he was like, "I fucking knew it."
Raul Julia is in that, and he's he's brilliant.
Oh, he has John Travolta Broken Arrow fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like Broken Arrow is actually a really good fun film, and John Travolta makes it what it is. I love Christian Slater. Christian Slater is one of my favorite actors. I think he should be in more stuff. I don't know if he's done something to get blackballed. But
wasn't it what everybody else is doing? Because
no, he's not even on the list. He's not even on the list. But that film with John Travolta hamming it up as much as he did, having so much fun playing the bad guy, to even higher levels than he did in Face Off. And I watched Face Off again the other day. That film still holds up. It really does. Why did we never get a Face Off game? Or did we? And nobody knew.
A Highlander game that's so rare, by the way.
Highlander? No?
Highlander came out in PS2. Nobody knows where to get it. It's impossible to find.
Must be great, eh?
Well, you never know. Matthewman says, I've been waiting years for Gears of War movie. First Red Dead was phenomenal. It was. Gears of War, never really got into that. But there's a lot of games that would be really good films that they just don't seem to bother the arse with. They've done it with Last of Us. That's my wife's favourite thing ever. Jay likes Misters because he likes to screenshot the horse penis.
I mean, I've got to hand it to you, Paul. Your humour's very clever.
Mixes the Hitman and Assassin's Creed films were total letdowns. Well, aye. Yeah, they were. They could have been so much better, I think. Hitman was a phenomenal game series. I've got all of them, and I've completed all of them, because what you're doing is you're basically just silently kicking about, waiting to do folk in. And I thought there was a fine art to that, right? Assassin's Creed was basically like, it felt that it was a lot like that Prince of Persia. To me, I always felt it was a bit like that, but next level. The Assassin's Creed first few were really good. Even the most up-to-date one that I got was Valhalla, was the last one I played. And I felt like, again, that got too repetitive, too easy. When you get too repetitive, I'm like, nah, screw this. Matthew says, Raoul was dying when he was making Street Fighter. Van Damme was apparently coked out his tits for the whole thing. Really?
You can't tell by looking at him now that he had a really bad coke habit, eh? He went for being eternally 32 years old to being like 90 overnight.
Was Raoul actually dying? Oh, that sucks.
He had cancer when he was filming that.
Oh, that's a shite. He was good. He was a treasure. Smart Duck, how's it going, my man? Says Super Mario made Dennis Hopper's career.
No, it didn't. But Super Mario was class. I will argue that film to the death. It's nothing like the game. But could you imagine trying to make something like that game back then? It just couldn't be done. And even that new one that came out with Chris Pratt, I didn't like it as much as a lot of people did. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was not terrible by any means, right? But I felt it was too much like the game, and it kind of fucked me off a wee bit. Right, I can tell you're reading another one of Paul's comments, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm not. Do you know? I actually laughed at the fact I just looked at him and thought, "It's that dude that has it out for you." Like, what did you do?
I have no idea who he is.
I
don't know. I don't think we've heard it before, but I think he could be screaming for a banning.
Well, I can most definitely if you would like me to.
He's one message away from it, so
he's getting into your skin. Wasn't there?
I just don't see the point in him being here. He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing to add any fun to the proceedings. Do you know what I mean?
Unless it's someone like, imagine you go into your work and that guy's like, oh, and it was, you know what I mean? Because he's not vicious in the point that he's horrible. It's more like he's the guy in the crowd shouting something, and you're like, who said that? You know what I mean?
Nah, nobody at my work is kind of savvy enough to create a false
they're all
profile.
dumb fucks.
They're not dumb fucks, but they would just come on and say it to my face, because if it's somebody you know, that's fine. If it turns out he's somebody I know, that's fine. But if I don't know him, then fuck him.
Reveal yourself, boy. Mario Brothers with Hoskins.
Hoskins.
Hoskins. Cracking me movie. It was. I loved it. I put it on for my kid, my son Harry, who absolutely adores Mario. He's like, Dad, what is this? Get it away. He's like,
it's endlessly slated by. It's good for film fans and bad for the game fans, I think.
Yeah, classic character acting. And Dennis Hopper was class in that. He was really good in Waterworld. He was even in Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
2. He was in that. It was the second one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. He was in.
Was it 2? Aye, it was, because he's a badass bitch. And then it goes to Leatherface, which is the third one.
They turned the second one into a comedy, and then the third one was just fucking hard to watch.
And then you got The Next Generation, which was, what is that?
The Texas Chainsaw remake back in 2004, maybe 2005. That was actually awesome. Really enjoyed that. But the early sequels they kind of went off the rails a bit.
Mick says maybe it's someone you asked for ID despite knowing they're over 18. Well, he looks like he knows who it is, just with the wee eyes emoji.
I don't know. Don't think so.
Anyway, by the way, the game I forgot to bring through, it's through there. I'm not going to go and get it. But Batman Begins. You know when Christopher Nolan started doing Batman films?
Mate, that was phenomenal, that game.
Did you play that?
I did. I played it actually again. It's coming back to me. That was one of the ones in the PS2 that I spent a lot of time playing.
Outstanding how good that was.
Yeah.
It had no right being as good as that.
I think it gave me a taste for the Batman games, and that's why I played Arkham Knight.
I didn't like those ones. To be honest, I didn't. See all those Batman ones, I really didn't. There was too much going on. There was a lot going on, but what I commend about that game in particular was the fact that it threw twists at you that you weren't expecting. Yeah.
And characters showed up that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And for me, it was phenomenal. I never played any of the. I think there was 2 games before that, the Arkham games. I think there was 2 before Arkham Knight. Never played them, but 3 does a decent enough job at kind of explaining what happened in the first 2 to make you appreciate what happens in that one. And I think it's phenomenal. I'm stuck on it now, obviously.
I've got all the Game of the Year editions of them, and I only kind of just dipped my toe in them. But see, Batman Begins, what I loved about it is I'm not a big fan of playing a game that literally means you got to complete this level to get to the next bit. Like, I like games that are open world. Let me make my decision. Let me choose whether somebody lives or die. I love those type of games. Batman was a game that's like, no, you have to walk this way. You have to shoot that, or you're not getting to the next bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, you and I will play that game, and we'll both have the exact same experience, right?
There's no choice involved in it. You just have to complete your missions.
Correct. And I hate those type of games, but I love that. So that's what does that tell you? You know?
Nice one, by the way. It's your turn. Your turn to sneak out a cheeky wee fart and try and pretend it never happened. Aye, I seen that.
No.
I seen that. And anybody that watches it back, and I will watch this back just to see you fart and sniff it.
Incorrect. Correct.
Nah, I think thou doth protest too much.
No, I think you try to set us up, man. Set us up. I think it says maybe it's a kinky Jan's fella who's mad at all this he was giving. Yeah. Where is we, Jan? Oh no, Jan. Where's Janice? Not seen her. In fact, it's Monday. She was.
It's Monday. Aye, she's probably working or something. By the way, can I just go through? I'm just going to go through my wee list here from top to bottom to see if you had any of these on your list.
What movies make a good game? Stranger Things, a proper game.
And by the way, the Goonies, they should turn into a game at this point. I think they did do a Goonies game way back in the day, but it was too early. Like it's when games were still really primitive. They could revisit that now and make an awesome game at it.
I've got that playing right now alongside Jaws. Bathgatecinema.co.uk. Go get your targets.
Plug. Right. So, the Die Hard trilogy on the PlayStation 1.
It's all right.
That was awesome. Because you could play each film individually. It was awesome. Aladdin on the Mega Drive. I think I mentioned earlier. The Lion King again on the Mega Drive and Game Gear.
I loved that. It was like and then you grow up. You grew up.
Aye, you grow up as the game goes on.
Aye,
It follows the movie pretty well.
And not only that, but see the foliage, like see the bits, the actual jaggies. Like you would jump into that and you would kind of flash when you got hurt. So it was like actual jaggies.
And it would go, ow, ow,
yeah.
ow.
I thought that was a great game. It was a great game.
The Addams Family on the Amiga. Well, I played it on the Amiga. I do think it was cross-platform. I think it was on the SNES, maybe. The Addams... Ow, bit my tongue. The Addams Family game was... It could be quite tough. But I remember the music. It went do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. And you only got the do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. That only showed up on the title screen. But... the game itself was pretty fucking good. RoboCop on the Commodore 64.
Terminator.
Nah, just RoboCop on the Commodore 64. Awesome game.
Rogue City's out now. Well, that's a Terminator. That's a RoboCop one. You're probably into that. You should check it out, Rogue City.
I've seen the gameplay of it, and I might fancy it. I might not. Still to decide. Back to the Future 2 on the Atari ST. The Atari ST was a phenomenal wee computer system. It was my big cousin who is now, how old is he now? I think he is a Bohera 50 now. That he had that. He had that when I was growing up, and I used to love playing that game. You spent the first level on the hoverboard in the future, just dodging old Biff who would randomly appear, and flying cars, everything for the future. Kind of the future setting. Back to the Future 2 was in there. Fucking awesome. Indiana Jones again on the Atari ST. What can I say? You were Indiana Jones. You had a whip, and the bad guys actually fell to the ground when they died. They didn't just flash and disappear, which was quite refreshing for back then. Again, really tough game. It was actually a bit like Rick Dangerous. Now, anybody that's old enough will remember Rick Dangerous. But I think Rick Dangerous was a wee take on Indiana Jones. It was like a wee fat Indiana Jones. It was pretty much 90% heed. That was
mate. Come on, that was exactly Indiana Jones. It was even spelt the same way.
Rick Dangerous. No. Danger's my middle name.
Mate, Rick Dangerous should be Dick Dynamite too, or like in the same universe. Dick
Mate,
Dynamite,
I would 100% pay to see I'd 100% pay to see a Rick Dangerous film.
Could you imagine that? Rick Dangerous versus Dick Dynamite.
It'd be a good antagonist. It'd be a good final bad guy for Dick Dynamite. Was Rick Dangerous?
Who's exactly Indiana Jones? Because if I'm right in saying, Beans had said that Indiana Jones had basically, the new one had taken a lot of his writing. Obviously they hadn't, but like it's very similar. So this could be him getting back by introducing Rick Dangerous in the exact same kind of ways. That'd be pretty cool. Mate, that's a Matthew Man waiting to happen, right? Dick Dynamite versus Rick Dangerous. That'd be epic. That's cool as shit. Sorry.
And then you've got Dick Dangerous, which is just a fucking sexually transmitted disease. But aye, so that's. I did delete like 5 or 6 off my line as we were going because you had covered them. But
if you had Bookie's line,
I had a lot of fond memories tonight, man. Remembering these games, and I totally forgot about Batman Begins. And I would love to be able to sit down and play these things again. Oh, by the way, there's a guy on TikTok. I think he's called Retro Sega 81, who constantly is flogging these retro game stick things. And he was flogging one the other day, and he was like, "Okay, I'm just going to show you all what consoles are on this because it's got like 36,000 games in it or something. It's mental." And he starts flicking through them, and the Amiga didn't show up. And I commented, I was like, "Oh mate, the Amiga, gutted with a wee crying face." And then he replied to me, and he went, "I'm going to tag you in this video." And he took me to another one that he was flogging before, and it's got the Amiga on it. So guess who's buying that? Because it costs about 500 quid to buy an Amiga 1200 now. So,
I know, but you wouldn't want it because it wouldn't even hook up to your telly. Mate, I've got about 6-7 different pies, we call them. Some
you're a pie.
Well, I've got one that looks like a Sega, which has every Sega game ever on it. I've got one that looks like a PlayStation, has near enough every PlayStation one.
I had the Mega Drive one myself. I did have that, and then I lost the power cable. I lost the power cable when we moved, because it was a small Mega Drive, and it actually took the old consoles as well. So I was able to order the old games online and play them
I know
old
what you're
style.
talking about. I've got one of them as well. No, I'm talking about like not a non-official one that's been built by a guy like your man. It's over there. I also have one that you plug into and it's got like 100,000 games and it's got every console, Amiga, handheld, everything. So I've got everything at my disposal. I'm sure I showed it to you. Did I not?
Your Raspberry Pi thing.
Mm-hmm.
You showed it to me a long time ago.
So I've got like 6 of them, all different things on them. And what you do is I've got controllers that basically are like the original controllers, but they're USB ended. Chuck them in the side of it. It's like playing your childhood on HD TV, mate.
I will get one. I'll wait till I get paid because January's an absolute bastard.
January's killing everybody, man. I'm like, oh.
Although we did only go into our overdraft today, which I was quite proud of.
You're doing well, my man. You're doing well.
Aye, doing well.
Couple last questions here before we wrap up. John Wick would be a good Max Payne type game, correct? Or even so much more like the Enter the Matrix. It would be pretty cool. Mick says, was Superman games any good?
Nope.
I ever played any of the Superman game ones, so that
I did play the one for the Nintendo 64 and it was fucking horrendous.
I still have my Mega Drive. Original?
Oh,
nice.
mate. Is it 16-bit or 8-bit?
16, come on. I've got a GameCube. Oh, I even brought my Game Boy to show you. Hey, I've got a couple Game Boys here. Look at this. There's a wee blast for the past. There, look at that. Right.
Is that an original case or did you buy that?
Yeah, no, that's an original case. Check this out. So some of my favorite games, well, I'll show you some of my favorites, and they're sitting here in bubble wrap because I just love them. This is Wario Blast, which is basically Bomberman. Wario, right? WWF Road to WrestleMania, Crash XS. That's like the official Game Boy Advanced Crash. WrestleMania 2000, which I've got that boxed for both Game Boy. The box is through there, and for Nintendo 64. Every game under the sun. One of the Pokemon games, I've got quite a few of them, but there's an original Pokemon game I think you'll get. Like if I was to sell it right now, it's about 50, 60 quid because it's an OG and the battery still works. So I'll probably get more for it. A Game Boy Light, because remember, back in the day, LCD screens, right? And a wee bit of bubble wrap just to keep my 90s stuff good. There it is. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Plug that into the side like that.
Have you got a Game Gear?
No, because by the way, it's very rare to find a Game Gear that isn't yellowed and the screen has all gone. Like the way they made them, like you actually, if you found
it was a
one,
full color screen, wasn't it?
Well, it was. Any that you find now won't be because they need to really be. Whoever owns them has to really look after them. There's a link cable just in case anybody wants to trade Pokemon with me, right? Check this. Another Game Boy. Look, this one is a Game Boy SP. It's been reshelled, right?
Fucking hell.
Listen, right here, hear this. All right. What game we got? Oh, this is one of those that's got a billion games in it as well. Look, it's going down all these games. What we go for? I even get a wee trailer. Donkey Kong. There we go. Oh yes, Oh no, that's McDonald's. I've put the McDonald's game on. By mistake. I went to go to Donkey Kong, but I went to McDonald's. Check this out. Can't even see it. That's how old they are, man. It's because of the way the light is like that. Look at this, Yes. Playing Game Boy Live on the show. Ready. Player one ready, huh? There we go.
Listen to those tunes.
Here. I wonder if I put Terminator on, will it give me the actual Terminator tune?
Go for it. Go
I
for
think
it.
It does, right? Yeah.
They all blow.
They all blow. Here we go. Let's see. How good would it be an 8-bit version of Big Brad Fiddle? Brad Fartbanger. What is this? Where's Arnie? Look.
He's gone.
What is this? Look, Los Angeles, July the 1st. See, nah. I'm just having to shoot. I'm shooting the T800s. Don't know if you can see. We basically have to shoot T800s. Look. Nah, we're not getting the song out yet. That's quite gutting because that's all I really wanted.
No.
That's all I really wanted. It was chuck it on. Hang on.
The fact that the games still work is actually a
Mate,
phenomenal.
they all do. What I found though, see the Pokemon games or any game that had any type of daylight savings time. So basically, any game after like blue and yellow, they added this feature where it was like daylight saving time. So you could essentially play the game and it'll always know what time it is. So time would progress, yeah. But that required a battery. So after like 30 years, those batteries run out, which means you can't save the game because it's powered by the battery. So you have to get the cartridge all opened up and get someone to take the battery out and put a new battery in. And that's quite the process. So that's where it's at with that. And that's quite an issue for folk. So that's why folk didn't do it. That's why. Crazy story, right?
Crazy.
It's been good. It's been. You need to come to my house and we'll play some old games. What was Mick says? Mega Drive 2 16-bit. Aye.
Lovely jubbly.
If a chap in West Lothian area is looking to go see cinema with nice comfy seat, where would you kind of recommend? Bathgatecinema.co.uk. Go check it out. We've got some old films playing right now. I plan to hammer in over the next 2-3 months all the classics that you can all love because that's what I want to do. So if you've got any recommendations, punt them to us at jibberscotland.co.uk. Tell me what films you'd like to see, and if you do plan to come and see it, fucking come and see it. Then just tell me I'll play this, and then I come and see it. What the fuck? I like so definitely do that. That'd be pretty cool. Or don't, but if you want to, let me know, and I can maybe make that happen. J Mac, have you had fun going back through memory lane?
Surprisingly enough, I have. Like, I wasn't like without lying, I wasn't really looking forward to the night because you were like, "Oh, make a list of like games based on films that you played." I was like, "Fucking games, man! I'm not a gamer. I can't be arsed." Then when I started writing them down, I was like, "I've got some fond memories of these, man." And you just brought out some more in me, so that's always good.
That's kind of when I thought, right, I thought, okay, I thought he's left me on red with those movies, so we'll not be reviewing them. So I need to think fast. I thought we'll go for movie adaptations that are essentially great games because there's a lot of pish, but there are ones that are really good as well.
Last Action Hero was horrendous. Played that recently. Really bad. Really bad.
There is a there is a website that I can send you. You don't need to download anything. You click the website, you click a game, and it plays.
Send it. Thank you. And put the link in the description below.
No, I'll get it. And there it is. I will send you that game website, and technically, I mean, I don't know if it's illegal, but it's not in the day where you just go on it and play it. You don't have to download anything. You literally just click on it, click on the game, and it will play. So you'll not get any sleep at night, Matt, for I
better. I'm fucking early shift tomorrow, so.
Oh no. Well, on that note, lads and ladettes, it's been really cool that you guys have stuck with us this night on a Monday of all nights. Stick with us. We've got some cool stuff coming up, hopefully. Make sure you share the podcast and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. Keep us in our job. We'd do it even if nobody's watching. But thank you for tuning in, and make sure to let us know if there's any episodes you'd like to see, all that cool shit. And thanks for tuning in. I always say thanks.
Thank you.
You probably think we're just saying that, but we actually proper appreciate that you stay up with us, and it's like a wee sleepover. Yeah.
Aye, it's like a good old fashioned sleepover back in the mid-90s.
Like a wee get together.
Aye.
Come at you. Yeah. Good stuff. So stick with us, and you'll see us next Sunday. We'll be back on a Sunday. And thank you for tuning in on our Monday episode. And thanks. If you're listening to this in the archives or you watched live, fucking, you're appreciated. So on that note, J-Mac, anything else you'd like to say?
Fuck you, Paul. Good night.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was...